Well, Val, it's great to see you again. This is great. We're in the beautiful offices in New York of the Big East Conference, where you currently sit as the commissioner of the Big East Conference. We met back in 1996-97. You were working with David Stern of the NBA and had launched the WNBA, and I was publishing the Women's Sports Wire. So I'm grateful, thankful to have the opportunity to talk with you about your career. I just want to spend the time today to talk about your career choices, the career path, what you've seen, some of your greatest challenges, and also diversity in sports and women's sports, and how you managed all of this as a mom and a wife.
Well, it was an unplanned journey, for sure. I really, most of all, when I was in college especially, wanted to be a lawyer. If I had a career dream, it was that, to go to law school and to be a lawyer. And so the advice I got was, if you want to be a lawyer in the sports world, get some experience being a lawyer. And that's what I did. That's why I wound up at a Wall Street law firm, to get that legal experience. It had nothing to do with sports. So when I began working at the NBA, after my 2 years on Wall Street, it really was a dream come true. Not one that I had thought a lot about growing up, but because I was so interested in basketball and had played the sport, was a fan, that I would say was really a career high, to get the job offer to work at the NBA. And that began what turned into a 16-year stay at, in my judgment, the greatest sports league in the world. It was a time when the NBA business was just taking off. David Stern was in his 4th year as commissioner when I started, so he was on the beginning, at the beginning stages of what became a 30-year journey for him in that job. So it was really exciting to be part of the league at that time, when so many things were taking off, and to be involved, first of all, on the men's side, and then ultimately to be involved with the launch of the WNBA and things that were beginning to happen in the mid-90s in women's sports.
Some time ago, we talked a little bit about being the only woman in the room. You've sat on a number of boards. You've been the only woman in the room. Do you still find yourself the only woman in the room?
The answer is yes. I mean, I have this acronym for it. I call it OWITR, you know, only woman in the room. And it does happen. I mean, it does. And the higher up you go, the more likely it is to happen. So, you know, I've just kind of gotten used to it, to be honest.
So let's talk about some of your greatest career moments. In 1989, you were one of the first NBA's appointees to the board of directors for USA Basketball, the national governing body that is responsible for the selection and training of the United States teams to compete in international tournaments, including the World Cup and the Olympics.
Those were all, I mean, incredible. I mean, I've been really lucky to have been with the sport of basketball during so many sort of punctuation marks in the history of the sport, and there's so many. I mean, I think I'll miss a bunch here, but the '92 Olympics, which, as you mentioned, I had a chance to work on as an NBA liaison to USA Basketball. The gold medal in Barcelona with that team at that time was really an incredible moment for the sport of basketball. The '96 Olympics were impactful because they were here in the U.S. On the men's side, it was their 3rd dream team. So a little less novel, you know, than it had been in '92, but on the women's side, very impactful, because that gold medal, which was a great game, by the way, USA-Brazil at the Georgia Dome, did in fact directly lead to the launch of the WNBA, which was incredible.
As a mom myself, and you having raised 2 young daughters at a very early age in the beginning of your career, is there anything else that you can say would help in terms of women and the individual and differing needs that they have?
I think to be successful in whatever field it is you choose, there's many attributes that are required or desired. But at the end of the day, I always think about the need for sacrifice. I mean, particularly if you want to have a family. And that was very much my experience, and it in fact affected my career path because at the end of the day, I spent many years at the WNBA. It was a dream job. I loved what I did, but it was very hard to balance the demands of that work with wanting to be the kind of mother I wanted to be for my daughters. So at the time I left the league, we're 12 and 10. I'd had my position in basketball when they were born. I mean, that's all they knew was mom running out the door to go to work or to go to a game. And it was, I think, exciting for them. They look back now and I think they took a lot away from that, but it was very hard on me and my husband for me to maintain that schedule.